All right, my friends. Hello, I'm Shannon, and I'm here with my friends Ben and Manvinder, and we are in a joyful mood. We'll say this is my third attempt to introduce this show, but that's really why we are doing this because I love any opportunity to embrace imperfection and also to
Mm.
laugh with my soul family. Right before we hit record, we closed down our eyes and we tuned in because this is what we do. And we kind of like drifted away. And we almost forgot to like record and start talking. And it made us laugh and giggle and put us right in the playful mood that we're feeling today. So thank you both for being here with me. We started last time and we were, talking about a return to wholeness, this soul remembering that we love to explore and discuss together. And last week, one of the things that there's a couple things that both of you said that stood out to me, and I know we've gotten other comments about it. Ben talked about energy as our greatest currency. And I thought that was so beautiful. And I've thought about it many times about how we spend our energy, what we plug into, how we fill ourselves up, but also how we bring awareness when we're feeling out of alignment, when we're feeling drained or getting to that point. And so both of us were just, all three of us were talking a little bit about like what is exciting us right now or how we're discerning between something that feels draining and misaligned versus something that feels really in tune with our soul right now in this moment. And then Manvinder talked last week about wanting to intentionally live a slow life and what that meant for her, not necessarily slow pace all the time, but really intentional and being conscious about the decisions we're making of how we're using our energy and how we're filling it back up. So, with that kind of introduction, I'm going to pass it to Ben because he's starting to share a story that he wanted to bring to us. And then we love these conversations because we never know where they're going to take us. So, we're trusting the flow of this present moment as we pass it on to Ben's energy right now.
Oh, so nice to be here again. Thank you, Shannon, for your amazing introduction, as always. Oh, today, anyways, I've been noticing these encounters of late. In fact, I was thinking to myself yesterday that what am I grateful for? What brings me joy? And what came to my mind was all the moments of excitement I've been having throughout last week, even up to today, you know. And one of them happened today again, which is there was actually two, right? But I'm going to talk about this one. So I picked up this couple. They got in the car, and they were serious, right? The next thing they started practicing. I think they were going to the university, so they were practicing. The girl had a presentation, and she had everything. She was going like 100 miles per hour, saying all this stuff, and she had the good knowledge. But knowing myself, I didn't know what to expect, right? I wanted to add my energy to whatever is going on, but I had to pause to let them be ready for it. So she did it twice. So at the end of the second one, I said, "Oh wow, you're doing an amazing job." I said all that. Then I went into the matter. First of all, it's all about intention. It's not really about what we are saying or what we are doing. It's the energy behind it. And she had so much to say, so many information. I couldn't even hear anything, but I was tuning into her energy and I could feel the excitement, right? I could feel the nervousness a bit too, but I just noticed she had a lot to say. So when I explained to her, you know how they say 70% is your body language, 23% is your intonation, and 7% is what you say. So that means anything we are saying is actually 7% that is the words that we are really focusing on. That's 7% of it. And the remaining 70% and the 23%, okay, body language, that's just your movement, right? That's your soul moving. And the 23%, which is the tonation of voice, is also an expression of your soul, like something unconscious. So that is 93%. So when we make intention with something, think about it like 93% of the whole thing is the intention. Then 7% is that stuff that is visible. So my point is that when it comes to energy, or when it comes to doing something or saying something, what you are saying, yes, is important, but what you are not saying is more important.
Mhm. Yeah.
I love, Ben, that you are bringing attention back to is it's more important to be than to do. Because your energy, your presence, your body language is just being yourself, just being there, just being who you truly are, being easy, being relaxed, being in your own skin and feeling it and owning it, just being. That emits confidence. And that's why in psychology they say it's more important than your words, it's your body language and your confidence. But ultimately what they're saying is the energy you're emitting is has more power on others than what you're about to say with your words. I love that. I love that. It's beautiful how it brings back to just being the truest version you can be of yourself.
Mm. Yeah, that makes me think about this word alignment, living in alignment, what that means. Because I've been thinking about that energy is currency and like, when you feel really depleted by something, maybe it's because it is out of alignment. Maybe it's something you said yes to when you wish you had said
Mm.
no, or, maybe it's something that you thought you should do and it just doesn't feel like it's aligned with your energy anymore. And I think we're going through such change right now that that's happening a lot quicker. What
Mm.
inspired us or filled us up last week even can be completely different to this moment. And so it
Mm.
makes me think about like living in alignment. And when we know, like, I'd be curious for you to share, like, how do you know when you're not living in alignment? How do you feel that in your body, when you get a cue that, like, ooh, this is a no for me, or this is a let's pivot, or something's out of alignment with my energy because I'm super depleted right now, or maybe it's not even out of alignment, but it's just like little tweaks that need to happen so that you can realign or refill up. You know what I mean? So, like, how do you both kind of cue in when something feels right and is in alignment and when it doesn't?
In my experience and knowledge, when I am in my mind a lot, when I'm just thinking, I get disconnected. And I'm not aligned in that moment because I am in my mind, I'm thinking, and then there comes judgment, there comes projection, there comes opinions, and everything we have learned in the world, in the 3D world, because our mind is accumulation of knowledge that we have earned. And when I'm in my mind and I'm thinking more than tuning and relaxing and being in my heart, like being in connection with my own self, being in my heart, then it's very easy for me to be depleted and to feel drained and to feel just tired or to feel cranky. You know, like you have no energy left. More than being physically tired, it's mentally tired because that trail of thoughts, it's continuous, and it starts bringing you reasons to keep going, and that's endless if unless you intentionally put a stop and they're like, no, I choose to stop here because my thoughts are creating my reality. And then if I keep thinking this way, if I keep going down this line, I will start feeling anxious and worried about my future or any past experiences that have happened and we have no control over. So this disconnection is felt, and we just make a conscious decision in that moment, either to keep going down that road or to stop and just take a few deep breaths and move into your heart. Just be where you are right now. What do you think, Ben? What does that bring to you?
Wow, that was perfect because when I think this question was, how do you feel, when you are not in alignment? And usually when you are not in alignment, it just means it's so simple. And it's not easy, I get it, okay? But like you've just moved from your heart to your mind.
Yeah.
When you move to your, think about like when you move to your mind, now you are driving on a off road or like a bumpy road. It's like there's something on the next corner. There's something. But when you are in your heart, it's just smooth sailing. It's like gliding. It's like, if you can remember your future, it's like now we have the what do you call it? Anti-gravity vehicles. Just gliding through space. That's how it feels like, you know. And this thing was apparent to me 2 weeks ago. Someone, which is a family friend, she asked me to do something. I've done it in the past for her. And I'm like, sure, why not? Right? She gave me a week. Oh, perfect. So I started late, of course, like a day before. Then I started to feel so much pressure. Like the
Yeah.
discomfort was it's so visceral, like palpable. I could feel it. And because I've been in tune with my body, I know like, come on, this is not right. And all this was, I promised her I'll give her the next day, but at this junction, that is impossible. So
Mm-hmm.
I can either do two things: do what I like to do,
Mm-hmm.
which is leave that work, go about my own business, have my fun, meditate, music, whatever. Or I sit here and make sure I meet this deadline that I already promised.
Mm-hmm.
And if I continue, I'm going to continue feeling that energy that I kind of don't like. I mean, maybe because I was tuning into it, like going through it, it makes me like get to a point where I'm like, you know what? This is time of choice. What am I going to choose? It boils down to these two things. Am I going to choose what excites me?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I going to choose continue on this path? And thankfully, we've been talking about excitement all week before that. I'm like, oh, this is easy. Excitement. I picked up the phone, called her. Hey, I'm sorry, I can't make this week. I'll do it next week for you.
Mm-hmm.
And she
Yes.
said, oh, that's perfect. I'm like, oh, thank God. Boom, that was it. And I went on living my life and I was relieved. Ooh.
I like how you talked about tuning in with the body because I was thinking about like how we feel when we're constricted and how we feel when we're expansive. And when we're
Mm,
talking about energy, and you think about, you know, for those of you who are joining in our conversation, listening, like, what makes you feel that pressure and that constriction, and what makes you feel expansive? And because we live in such a world that teaches us really to lean on our head, we're learning how to lean in the heart more. We're learning how to pay attention. So I love both of you, like, sharing those real examples of like what it feels like, and then you have choices on how to like realign, because I think that so often that's just not our natural instinct. It's to push through or force it, or like feel the pressure from the outside. And you just gave a really good example of like, how can I breathe again? And it's, and your body was signaling to you, and I
Yeah.
just think
mm,
that's such a good reminder for all of us, because I know people listening going, oh my gosh, like I have a lot of those kinds of restrictions in my life. And like, these simple reminders of like, how do you feel? And what is your heart guiding you to do? And take a breath in this moment. And what choices do you have to realign?
Mhm. Absolutely. I love how, Ben, you chose to prioritize yourself. You put
mm,
yourself first. And I love that. This is the way. This is the way. If we want to move into the 5D, into the dharmic world, and get out of our karmic reality, our karmic world, this is the way to honor yourself first. And
mm,
this is not selfish at all, because if you had chosen to honor your commitment, you know, you would have not put your best energy in whatever you were creating, because that was
total.
not coming with a flow of ease. You would have to, again, you would have put effort, you would have done it, but you wouldn't have been your best,
Mm,
in your best energy,
mm,
in your best creativity. So I think the message with this is, if you ever have to pick between being or doing,
mm,
prioritize being and then move towards doing.
mm.
Both are important.
It's that
Oh,
intention. Go ahead, Ben. Yeah.
I just want to jump in, like you are so spot on, Marvinda, because that task, she needed it on Thursday. So I was doing it on Wednesday, right? And the next time I did it, I gave it to her on a Tuesday, right? And I I looked at it once, figured it out. Then the next time I did it, it was like seamless, so quick. Like the amount of time I took to do it, I could have done it that first day, but I wasn't in that right space. So even I want to do it, but my body's like, no. It's like, two opposing force. I want to do it. No, you're not doing it. Then you don't get something out of it. But the other time, they both align, and with, I did it with ease. So yeah, you are spot on.
Mm, that is beautiful. Yeah, I think so much of it has to do with that pause and that intention. That's what we did before we hit record today. We were about ready to hit record, and then we're like, wait, let's pause. Let's tune in. Let's drop down. Let's drop into our hearts. And I think there's something really like simple, like even the example you said of the person who was practicing the presentation. There's times where you are having to go step on stage or do something that you might not want to be like, I'm not feeling it right now. And there might be a whole group of people waiting for you, but you can take these intentional pauses to
Mm,
breathe and connect. And I think that that's kind of what I'm hearing you both say. And like, what is helpful is when we just drop down, tune in with the heart. There are times in life where we can't just like stop everything, but we certainly can reset and realign in the moment so that we are tuned into that energy you're talking about. That really is what people are feeling, right? So
Mhm.
even if you mess up on the introduction or you mess up on a presentation, the authenticity of that and being tuned into the heart will be felt regardless.
Mm. Amazing. I love that. Because I love everything you said. Because being authentic is a lot, couple things, but one thing it is that it's being true to who you are right now. Like
Mm.
you were saying earlier, like, yes, you made some promises last week, but last week is last week. It's in the past. It's a figment of you can remember it, but it's gone. Be true to yourself now. And that's why we need to start breaking the streams of consciousness. And how do we break those streams? Because things are just happening, and we're just looking. We don't break it. And how do we break it? It's taking that pause. You're about to start something new, take a pause, acknowledge it. Even if you stumble one, two, three, it's okay. It's the past now. We are always beginning as we're always becoming, right?
I think
Very
that's
well
why.
said.
Go
Go
ahead. I was just going to say, I think that's why laughing feels so good. When we laugh together, it's like our
ahead.
pause, it
Yes.
drops us
Mm,
in. Yeah.
Yes. And I think sometimes not being perfect is also important. You
mm,
know, it's very monotonous if we are perfect all the time. There's no fun. But if we make a few mistakes here and there and we be silly a little bit, the whole environment changes. Like we were laughing just before starting this meeting today, and that was wonderful.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So, what is exciting you guys right now? What are some things that you feel excited about plugging your energy into? Um, is there anything that's coming to heart or mind around that?
Marina, you can go first.
I
Or
think
I
she's
can
I'll
go if you
let you
want.
go ahead, Ben.
Okay, sure. Because I have something that excites me. Shannon, this. We are, all these ideas, right? Every day is a new day, you know. And now, because of all these amazing encounters I've had like three today with these people. And it feels like, when you say you're a divine vessel, right? And there was something I was listening to. I can't really get the word right now, but it said something that you are now, okay, yeah, I think I get it. Because you stay in your own center. You are not like every other person. You are your own. And because you are your own, when you go in the world, you affect the world.
Mm.
Because most people are not original. You bring that originality, which is God expressing through you, and you start to affect people in amazing ways. So these people, we have the best time. And I'm thinking I should start documenting it and maybe putting it out there, just to let people have a window into those experiences. Because at those moments, I feel so much excitement.
Hmm. Yeah. I love that you asked, Shannon, what is exciting me the most, because there are so many things. I will try to fit in within a few minutes. Most importantly, I'm so excited about being onto the spiritual path. And the reason I say this, because this has taught me and this allows me to have that confidence of choosing myself and prioritizing where my heart is leading me. rather
mm,
than being influenced by the 3D world and the worries that are surrounding us, within our lives or outside of lives, within our family or in the outside world. And even the ways we make a living, we earn a living. I have chosen consciously to walk on a path that my heart feels good. Like we have learned, since we've started walking on this path of spirituality, that going with the flow and choosing what your heart wants, what your heart desires, is most important. And that could be as simple as picking up what to eat for breakfast, or
mm,
just sitting here and I have nothing to do in this moment. What do I want to do next? Do I want to go for a walk, or do I want to have a cup of coffee, or do you want to watch a movie? So just honor whatever your heart feels from this moment onwards. I mean, whatever the options you have available right now, pick that. Pick what excites you the most. Like, go with where your heart is flowing. And
Mhm.
I think that leads me most of the time. I'm not going to say I'm doing this 100% in my life, but I am incorporating it more and more as I'm getting better and better at it. This allows me to just live in ease more and more as I practice this. Be less in my mind and be more in my heart, and live a little slower life than others. I mean, everything is there. Sometimes, the complications, we create them. They don't actually exist in our reality. We kind of create them because we are relating it to other people's experiences, or what we have learned in our lives, or even experiences in our past lives that are still being carried in our body as traumas, as energy that we have not dealt with yet.
Mhm.
So when we choose to just, put a pause to our thoughts and just feel with our heart what feels right to me, what feels right, because we know that we are very important energetic beings, and what we feel is our guiding system, is our navigator. Like, we can navigate this life through what we feel, through what we perceive. Our intuition knows more than what our brain could ever figure out. So, by following my excitement, what my heart wants to do next has led me to live a life of little more ease, little more of less complications, less rushing, because it does not feel a big effort now. It feels effortless, and it's a beautiful natural flow.
Mhm. That's beautiful.
And working on it, it's a work in
I
progress.
that is the right there. That is the way to wrap that up, is that, as you beautifully put it, is it is a practice. And I think about what I'm hearing both of you, it's like so much of it is a mindset shift, and I'm thinking of this example. So, our mind is a great tool. We need it. we need
Yes.
we need our mind, but so often when it starts to rule the show or rule our day to day, it's a frustrating way to live. And so as we're talking about the spiritual practice and tuning in with our hearts, we're learning and we're practicing how to let it take a back seat, or how to integrate it with our heart's desire, with how we feel in our body, with our intuition. And I think about the mindset shift, and that alone takes so much practice. Like, right before this call, there's a clothesline behind me. Our dryer broke.
Oh,
And all of a sudden we're now like hanging our clothes to dry, and it's been raining for like 4 days. So it's just been not fun. So I'm out here and I'm like, I don't want, someone's underwear in the back of this shot right here. So I go and I'm pulling off all the clothes. And there's a part of me, I'm kind of tired and I'm like, oh, I really want my dryer fixed, right? And I'm like pulling off the clothes. And then I'm just like, for a moment, I literally just had to pause because I felt my mind start to like, and I was like, the sun was coming out. So there was my
Oh,
moment of gratitude. And then actually the sheets, oh my God, if you guys ever like hang your sheets to dry,
yeah.
they smell so good,
So good and
right?
fresh.
And
Yeah.
so it was just like, wow, this thing that was starting to really frustrate me or could have spiraled me out. I was like, I took that pause, and then it goes back to what Ben likes to do too, which is like gratitude. Like, what am I grateful? I'm grateful the sun's coming out today, and I'm grateful I have a line that I can hang my clothes on. But I love like what you're both sharing because it's like it's that glass half empty or glass half full. We talk about filling up our own glass first. Like that is a practice to shift how the mind wants to take over and then allow the body to help realign us. So I just think that's really beautiful. And I wanted to pull in a real life example because right before this I was like, okay, take the pause,
Mm.
That
reset.
is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Mm. And I also like the work in progress, Manvinder said, because we are talking about highs and lows, but
Yes.
you know there's the middle point, there's the center point. And if you guys notice of late, we've been feeling the middle point a lot, where it's
Yes.
like no excitement, no downside. I'm just there. Like, oh. And what I noticed, what I realized with that is the time to enjoy the magic of the
Mm,
Mhm,
moment.
mhm, mhm. Yes.
And why is there a high? Why is there a low? You see those highs, they are high because you are in your excitement,
Mhm,
right? And they are like signals.
mhm,
Yes, you're on the right path. So when everything is like low and nothing's going on, that is okay, right? Because that as we stay with the flow, when the next excitement comes, which is
mhm,
usually a moment of choice, where we
mhm,
have to make the decision, the
mhm,
universe comes to us again like, are you going to choose yourself? Or are you going to choose the world around you? Are you going to bend the knee? Or are you going to walk up, walk straight? You know? So, and also, one thing I want to say about the excitement is that, yes, we might not feel that excitement all the time, but the reason is because, so when we feel it, we would know.
mhm, mhm.
You know, you have that tool of contrast. And
yes.
when you are not in that excitement, stay in the flow.
Stay in the flow. I like
Mhm,
to think of those signals. It's like our soul signaling to us, but I think of it like a signpost. It's like
Mm,
stay in the flow. And then when that next excitement hit, I like what you said, Ben, about that choice point. Because how many
mm,
times in a day do we have a choice point or there's, and then that's what we're saying, isn't it? That then that's when you're stopping, pausing, tuning in, consciously making the next choice, but you're saying like pay attention to how you feel, pay
mm.
attention to what excites you. And that's a different way of like doing it than say letting your mind, plot out the next 10
No.
years. Right? We
right.
are
Right.
Stop.
relearning and remembering this wholeness that we're talking about, this return is to follow the next signpost, the next soul
Mhm.
signal, the next what is lighting us up on the path.
Mm,
And I would love to emphasize more on what you had previously said, Shannon, that don't let your mind take over. And I would
mm,
like to quote this. As I was growing up in Indian culture, I was taught that your mind is your faithful servant.
mm,
Your mind is the executor, not the decision maker. Now, I'm not saying this from a place of ego, but just to make this clear, we can also call our mind our faithful friend. You
Mm.
don't have to use the word servant, but the elderly used this word to explain the things that you are the decision maker and your mind executes it.
I love that idea of making friends with it. That really has
Mhm.
softened me, because then it's like,
Mm.
oh, when my mind steps in or wants to, is maybe in a state of fear or wants to control something, it's like, thank you, my friend. Like, I know
Yes.
you're just trying to keep me safe here, and I love that about you. Now, go back here and take the back
Yes.
seat.
Oh God.
Ooh, and then there's that trust and all the things, but that is a really beautiful way to also feel that expansion we're talking about, where we're not fighting with ourselves, but we're making friends with all those parts of us.
Yes. It's a beautiful practice that
Mm.
I am trying to incorporate into my life too. Whenever a negative past situation plays in my mind, I'm just gonna tell my brain, "Hey, buddy, my friend,
Mm.
we are releasing this. Let's
Mm.
release this right now. We're not gonna replay this again. It's time
Mm.
to release this." And I feel it's been helping. It's been helping. If any judgment comes in my mind, any judgmental thought comes about me, I say to my mind, "Hey, buddy, we are not going to go this way. Please release this. I no longer, I decide to release this now. I decide
Mm.
to release this now." And I'm very clear with the indication I'm giving, because I am keeping myself as a decision maker. And I'm
Mm.
telling my friend, my buddy, my mind, my brain to just do this for me.
It's like creating boundaries with your mind,
Ah, yes.
Yes. And with gratitude, with I come from a place of gratitude. Like, I'm very
Mm.
grateful for you. I'm so
Mm.
thankful to you. But I decide to release this. Thank you for
Mm.
doing this.
Feels
I
good.
love that, setting the boundary, Ben. It makes me think about sometimes, especially when we're going through a lot of change. We can be chill and feeling great, but as soon as like change starts to happen, big change in our life, all of a sudden that can really stir up. That's where our practice really comes into play. And I think about the mind sometimes as a toddler that wants to be seen and is like, don't
Yes.
forget about me,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And you're like,
Mhm.
okay, buddy. Okay, little buddy.
It's like constantly, "Mom, mom, mom,
Yeah,
mom."
yeah. Let's set some boundaries here, little buddy. I think that's a really cool visual and practice to do.
One thing I do is that, because one of the way I used to manage uncomfortable situation is I smile or I laugh. So when my mind starts running around, I'm like, maybe I have entertained it for a while, right? Then when I
Mhm.
realize, I'm like, oh, buddy, oh, very interesting. I see
That's
what you're
true.
doing.
Oh,
Then I
like,
just center. Hmm.
I'm enjoying it so much. Are you guys noticing we have already created a separation here? Like, without even doing it on purpose, we have already separated our mind from our own existence, which we
Mm.
call our soul.
Mhm.
Hmm.
We have already created a separate identity.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Isn't that powerful? Wow.
That really takes a moment of recognition and celebration.
So
That is really
I
beautiful.
was gonna, I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
Whew.
When
It
you,
You're in
only
the perfect
gets,
time. Go ahead.
sorry, I was going to say, it gets easier from here on because we have already created this detachment.
Yeah, I was thinking that I feel like one time I was kind of processing my life, right? Then I get to the point like, you know what? Right now, I'm on a cruise control. It doesn't matter what happens now. I'm good. I'm on the right track. I'm just
Yes.
gonna follow my excitement. That's it.
mm, That is so true because it's like when you think you're your thoughts and your mind, you can't find the track, you know? And now we're talking about that awareness that comes when you are not those thoughts. You are not the thinking mind. There's something beneath. And now we're talking about the practice of letting that our little buddy not run the show. They're going to get on the
Mm,
back of the track as we're
okay.
taking the ride, right? And that is such a beautiful thing, but it is a practice. And that's
Mhm.
really what that's what why we get together weekly to have these kinds of conversations, because we're talking about those highs and lows and the neutral. And yeah, there's something just really magical that happens when we bring these conversations to form and share them. And I noticed as we were talking about laughing and not letting the mind run the show, and you brought that awareness to us, Manvinder, about, you know, we're here, we're letting our hearts lead the way. Like we all three, I could feel, we're all like, oh, like it just felt so good. Mhm.
Like we have accomplished something and it gets easier from here on
Mm.
because the light bulb moment has happened. It feels good. It feels good.
And that's one of the indications too. When it's easy, then it's good. And when it's coming with a lot of, you know, stress, a lot of hardship, then you know maybe you're facing all this stuff because, you know, it's not the right way for you. But at the end of the day, all journey leads home, right? So it is what it is.
Well, and what you said, if we don't know what excitement feels like, you know, it's the same thing with the struggle. Sometimes we have to just go through that to know what
Mm,
resistance feels like, right? To know what it feels like when we're off track. Like not only off
yeah,
track, but we just like
I
we, you
know, I
know,
love it.
and
Yeah.
then what do? Then we have our tools. Then we find ways, because there are a lot of people listening who are probably off the track right now, you know, and
Mm,
sometimes we are encouraging, you know, and maybe next week I'm going to be off the track, or maybe an hour
mm,
from now, right? We are, that's what this is about, is that it is ever flowing and ever changing because we're on a path. And these signals that are like signs, like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go this way on my path, and then I'm gonna go this way. And so yeah, it's just whoever is listening now, like, you know, share with us, like, you know, what does it feel like when you're off the track, and
mm,
what is lighting you up right now, and how
mm,
does it feel to you when you choose to follow what lights you up? Because that's a whole
mm.
another set of conversation, isn't it, about what that brings up, too, either when we do follow it or when we don't. But is there anything else that you both feel like you'd like to share before we wrap up today?
I would like to add, because you used the word resistance, and in that moment, I felt like a nugget dropped in my mind. And I'm going to be very quick with this. Your resistance is your guidance, because
Mm,
wherever you feel the resistance, here you need to bring your mind in just to think that, are you feeling this resistance? Or is it because anybody else's opinion or past experiences or anybody else's experience is making you resist something? If you're feeling the resistance from your heart without knowing why, it's you. But if your mind is resisting from something because another person had a bad experience with it, or another person failed at it, or another person couldn't succeed at it, then you're in your mind. So your resistance is your guide when it's coming from within you, because that's your navigation system.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
yeah, thank you for that, Marinda. Well, for me, I've poured all my heart out. But right now, I would just say, take a chance on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
So choose yourself. See how it feels like. Give yourself a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just one time. Then if you like it, try again, because this journey yourself,
Mm-hmm.
it's a beautiful journey, it's a beautiful journey. And that's why we came here. That's why we came here. So we've got the pendulum have swung to the other side of the outside world, outside of yourself, outside of your mind, or a God that is outside of us. And now the times are changing, the times have changed. It's time to go within. And we have gone through that journey. We are all on different levels on our path, but the journey is there, is the beautiful part of it anyways, yeah.
I love that. And I think of that. We are all on our unique journeys. We are
Mm-hmm.
all on our unique paths, but we don't have to walk that alone. We are
Mm-hmm.
doing it together. And for
Together.
all of you listening, thank you for joining us in this conversation. This is why we're doing this. We're opening up our circle to share with those who want to share with us and resonate with this. And thank you for your comments in the last episode. Please let us know what was one of your takeaways from this, or what is inspiring you, exciting you on your path. And remember, we're in this together. We're walking the path, our unique path. There's no right path. It's just what is, unique for us. But we are together in this, and that's a beautiful thing. So thank you, Manvinder and Ben, for being here today. Thank you all for watching and sharing this episode, and we will see you next time.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you guys. Have a good
Thank
one.
you. Namaste, everyone.